Hey everyone, and welcome back to Doge Meat Games. As we chat today, please enjoy some gameplay of one of my new favorite titles, Knockout City. It's really awesome. Go play it. Also watch my video on it. So, stop me if you've heard this one before. It's time for a big reveal of a game that you've been waiting for a long time to hear about. Someone comes out on stage and talks about groundbreaking mechanics and stunning realism and a lived-in infinite world. You feel happy noises bubbling in your rumblies, and you may even squeal with excitement. At the very least, you spurt out an audible neat to maybe only yourself, but not the point. Then, some time passes, maybe months, maybe years, and during this time you watch developer videos and talk to friends about how cool the gameplay looks and how graphics look unreal. More and more time passes and a delay is announced, followed by another delay, followed by some troubling news of development. Now, you go back and look at the gameplay video you saw months ago, and you might hate it. You maybe even are angry about how you felt misled. You spent all this time creating a game before it touches your senses, and boy, if it doesn't make you a saucy lad by the time your grubby paws can get a hold of it. Alas, the game releases, and it's not what you were expecting, and you lose interest, and you move on. Now, I'm not a gambling man, but I would wager that there are a few parts of my story that hit each of you watching. And you know what? I don't blame you for moving on. I don't blame you for feeling the way that you do. You have spent all this time waiting and waiting after a game is announced, creating something that probably never existed in your mind. You created expectations from a team that simply promised to deliver a product that they are passionate about. All those buzzwords? Guess what? They're buzzwords and get people excited. And honestly, the developers probably feel that way about their product because it's personal to them and they made sacrifices to make something happen, so of course they're going to hype it up. Reality check time. Can you think of a game that you had developed in your head that the end product ended up being identical? I can't. And honestly, I have a hoarding problem with games. So what can we do with this information? Simply, look at the companies that typically don't do this. I love to look at Nintendo with this topic, as I think they are the kings/queens of this area. They will announce a game and release it typically within 1 calendar year at the max. Sometimes they will do it in like 2 weeks or even the same day. How exciting! I will concede that Breath of the Wild 2 is an exception to the rule, but most of the time the shoe fits. In turn, this causes months of silence about major releases, which is kind of unusual for gamers who are used to constant stimulation. That in turn causes speculation of its own, i.e., oh, they have nothing coming out, or they must not have anything cool to say, or die Nintendo, die! I made the last one up. But then the great turnaround when they do announce a game and people get pumped and it sells like Bananas Foster French toast. Delicious! I might be hungry. The irony is that the games under this model usually end up very successful, and not just under the Nintendo roof. Look at Apex Legends as an example. It didn't hit anyone's radar until the weekend before its release and surprised everyone. Then Respawn said, "Hold my brewski," and launched the same day they revealed it. The game skyrocketed to success and beat Fortnite, of all games, in popularity for weeks. Now granted, the game was awesome, but it also had no preconceived notions from people coming into it. So it felt fresh, surprising, and innovative. Once the launch dust settled, then Respawn did the developer diaries and the deep dives and everything that everyone typically does to hype something up. Now, I want to be concise here and say that I think advertising is important for a game, of course, but people perceive things in totally different ways. If I tell you that a game is open world, and you play, but you don't feel that way, then you have been misled. It's that simple. I think that the same thing happens when we talk about games before launch. Battlefield 5 fell hard to this hype, as did Fallout 76, Cyberpunk 2077, Evolve, and most recently Biomutant, just to name a few. They were not all terrible games. They were just not what the world and the publishers had painted the picture of when they launched. We should always remember that this is a common practice in the industry, and we have to trust in the sources that we have for honest expectations. Don't buy into the hype if you can help it. I am a hopeful of a few games this year, but I'm not making any expectations or promises to myself because developers don't deserve that. They are people too. My personal note to the publishers: your budget does not state your worth of the products you make. Keep it simple, talk about it closer to release, and for the love of Ganondorf, just ask Nintendo for advice here. So that's it. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you like the video, hit the like, subscribe, and tell a friend. I want to grow this channel with the community, so your support means everything to me. See you next time, and take care.